Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Gadigal people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Tuesday, May 2. In Squiz Kids Today, cleaning up space junk, trouble in Sudan, Yaya the panda comes home, and Steph Curry breaks a record. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
When it gets dark tonight and you've eaten all the veggies on your dinner plate and helped to clear the table and pack the dishwasher, I want you to pop your head outside and peer up into the night sky. You won't see it, but spinning around above your head, way up in the night sky and caught in orbit around the Earth, are some 9,000 pieces of space junk. Broken down satellites, discarded bits of spaceship, the remains of scientific experiments that humans have sent up into space at some point as part of our bold push to explore the galaxy. And it's getting so untidy up there, so crowded with space junk, that governments from around the world are meeting at the United Nations in New York to agree on the best way to clean up the mess. Called the Outer Space Treaty, it will be a way of agreeing how countries of the world share the use of the skies above us and clean up after themselves. One European Space Agency estimates there are currently 9,000 pieces of space junk currently in orbit around the Earth, ranging in size from a school bus to a marble. And at the current rate at which we're sending stuff into space, there could be up to 30,000 pieces of space junk by 2030. I've stuck a link to a graphic in today's episode notes showing the extent of the problem. You've heard of the Clean Up Australia campaign, right? Well, let's call this one the Clean Up the Cosmos campaign.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in Sudan, a country in Eastern Africa, which you've probably heard a bit about on the news lately. Right now, thousands of people are trying to flee the country. There were chaotic scenes at one of the ports yesterday as people lined up to board ships to escape the fighting that has broken out in Sudan between the army and a breakaway paramilitary group. What does that mean exactly? It means the two heavily armed groups of people are fighting over who should run the country, and millions of innocent Sudanese and foreigners living in Sudan have become caught in the crossfire. There's a big Sudanese population here in Australia. Lots of you probably know Australian Olympic champ Peter Bol. His family is from Sudan. And Socceroo Garang Kwol, as well as Western Bulldog Buku Kamis and his AFL playing buddies Majak Dor, Fremantle's Michael Frederick and Mabior Chol all have family in Sudan. Here's hoping it all settles down soon.
Animal Kingdom.
Yaya the panda has received a hero's welcome home in China after spending 20 years living in a zoo on the other side of the planet. Pandas are native to China, and for many years they were loaned by the Chinese government to zoos in other countries as a gesture of friendship. Before returning to the Chinese city of Shanghai and being met at the airport by adoring crowds this week, Yaya lived for 2 decades at a zoo in Memphis. Pandas can be rented by zoos worldwide for around $1 million a year, usually on 10-year contracts, and all the money raised goes to conservation efforts in the wild. Those panda fans who couldn't be at the airport when Yaya arrived back home were able to track her journey online. And get this, more than 430 million people have now viewed that site. So there are a lot of people in China going gaga for Yaya. See what I did there?
Sport time.
Is Steph Curry the GOAT? That was the question being asked yesterday after the NBA basketballer scored a record-shattering 50 points in the Golden State Warriors' defeat of the Sacramento Kings. Curry's 50 points set a new record in the history of Game 7 of the playoffs, beating Kevin Durant's 48 points against the Milwaukee Bucks 2 years ago. So what in the wide, wide world of sports is a playoff? In the NBA, America's biggest basketball competition, the teams that are top of the table play each other in a best-of-7 game scenario. Going into yesterday's game, the Warriors and the Kings were 3 games apiece, making the Warriors' victory and Curry's role in it even more exciting. And speaking of exciting, the Warriors will now face the LA Lakers, meaning Curry will come up against none other than fellow basketball superstar LeBron James. Now, that will be a series of games worth staying up late to watch.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Olympic sprinter Peter Bowles' family come from which African country? Yeah, that's right, it's Sudan. Question number 2. Pandas are native to which country? Yeah, you got it, it's China. Question number 3. What team does NBA superstar Steph Curry play for? Yeah, that's right, he's with the Golden State Warriors.
Shout-outs.
It's May 2. Today is International Harry Potter Day. So, whip out your broomsticks, find your wand, and hop on the nearest hippogriff. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Olivia from Roos, Ali from Monopara, Henry from Willunga, Jack and Tom from Avoca Beach, and Constance from Gardiner's Bay. And belated birthday shout-outs from last week go to Riley from Bangor and Matilda from Milton. And because many of you celebrated a birthday over the Easter holidays, we're still making our way through them. So, we're pressing pause on classroom shout-outs for 2 more days to make sure that no one misses out on their birthday shout-out. So, it's a happy belated birthday to James from Waitara, Sophie from Vermont South, Ava from Montmorency, Lincoln, who's travelling around Australia, Annabelle and Marcus from the Central Coast, Ishani from Point Cook, Harvey from Leongatha, Caleb from Brookvale, Hazel from Petersham, Emily from Glen Waverley, Ayla from Warrnambool, Jimmy from Exeter, Ethan from Broadbeach Waters, Tommy from Westbury, Lily from Oak Park, Zaylee from Junee, Arlo from Clairvaux, Layla and Ella from Brisbane, and Casper, who's listening all the way over there in Illinois in the United States of America. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you'll want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.